Hello and good afternoon. James Preston with you live from Kalkine Studios in Sydney, and you're watching the Mid-Market Pulse. Let's see how the Australian equity market is trading today. Australian shares were trading higher by Tuesday afternoon, led by gains in energy, materials, utilities and financial stocks. Domestic bourses got off to a cautious start as investors anxiously awaited monetary policy announcements by the central bank, which will set the tone for the market. The S&P ASX 200 was trading up by 12.6 points, or 0.17%, during the mid-market session, crossing above its 20-day moving average. Earlier today, the index opened just 6 points higher and gained as much as 0.4% to hit an intraday high of 7,346. All eyes will be on the Reserve Bank, which is widely expected to keep cash rates at a record low, while it may announce changes in emergency stimulus measures. Overall, the central bank is expected to maintain its mild stance, considering the uncertainty caused by the resurgence of COVID-19 cases and lockdowns in Sydney. New South Wales has reported 35 new locally transmitted COVID-19 cases in the past 24 hours. Moving on to the sectoral front, only 4 of the 11 sectoral indices were trading in green. The energy sector was the best performer with a 1.99% gain. Materials, utilities and financials were notable gainers as well. Meanwhile, telecommunications services emerged as the worst performer, falling 0.8%. Consumer staples, healthcare, industrial and information technology were among the top laggards. Continuing gains for the third consecutive session, ASX-listed energy stocks were among the top performers today. Index heavyweights Woodside Petroleum, Santos, Oil Search, Origin Energy, Beach Energy and Ampol were all trading in the green. In the mining sector, index heavyweights BHP, Rio Tinto and Fortescue Metals were trading higher owing to firm iron ore prices. In the banking sector, Australia's big 4 lenders, the Commonwealth Bank, ANZ, Westpac and NAB, were trading higher ahead of the Reserve Bank policy meeting. Just before we jump into the ASX charter in detail, let's have a quick look at the top gainers and losers of the day's trade so far. Australia's big independent coal miner, Whitehaven Coal, was the top percentage gainer of the ASX, rising 5.15% to $2.15. Some of the other notable gainers were EML Payments, IGO, Pilbara Minerals and Beach Energy. On the flip side, gold miner Ramulus Resources was the worst performer on the ASX pack, falling 4.3% to $1.67. PolyNovo, Appen, Clinuvel Pharmaceuticals and Regis Resources were also among the notable losers. And now it's time for a very short break on Kalkine TV. Stay with us. I'll be back shortly for more on the Australian companies that are in the news today, only on Kalkine TV.
Hi, this is Andy Liu broadcasting from Kalkine Media Studio in Australia, and I'll be hosting the new Kalkine Wellness Show. The half-hour show will cover topics from how wellness as a concept has become even more significant during COVID, to how becoming vegan may improve your health and much more. We are excited to showcase our live streaming show to our audience of millions overseas and in Australia. Tune in to Kalkine TV and join me.
Great to have your company on Kalkine TV. I'm James Preston and you're watching the Mid-Market Pulse live from Sydney, and it's time to turn our attention to the banking sector. Shares of Westpac Banking Corporation rose 0.6% to $25.67 after the lender sold its New Zealand life insurance business for $373 million to Fidelity Life Assurance Company, a locally owned life insurer. The bank has also signed a 15-year agreement for the distribution of life insurance products to Westpac's New Zealand customers. The deal is expected to be completed by the end of 2021, subject to requisite approvals. The move is part of the lender's strategy to simplify business and focus on core operations. The lender is also reportedly in talks with Japan's Dai-ichi Life, TAL and Resolution Life to sell its Australian life insurance business. Moving on, and the share price of Sydney Airport retreated 0.9% to $7.71 after surging over 30% in the previous session, amid news that the company had received a $22 billion takeover bid from an infrastructure consortium. The Sydney Kingsford Smith Airport operators said it had received an $8.25 per share takeover bid from a consortium of infrastructure investors, including IFM investors and Q Super. Moving on, and shares of Carnarvon Petroleum gained 1.8% to 29 Australian cents after the oil and gas exploration company said it has formed a joint venture to produce renewable diesel and other sustainable products. The company has formed a joint venture with Frontier Impact Group, which is progressing a biorefinery business in Western Australia to produce renewable diesel and other highly valuable products. As per the deal, both the companies will own a 50% equity stake in the joint venture, with Carnarvon set to invest $2.6 million in seed capital to enable the first project to reach financial close, which is expected by early 2022. The share price of Abacus Property fell 1.5% to $3.23 after the Real Estate Investment Trust said it has purchased 5 assets worth $160 million from Storage King, the self-storage group. The portfolio of 5 assets provides more than 25,000 square metres of net lettable area located within the premium inner Sydney significant urban area. The acquisition will be funded from existing debt facilities and is expected to be completed on the 3rd of August 2021. PayRate Limited shares rose nearly 10% to 56 cents after the Buy Now Pay Later service provider shared a business update for the June quarter. The company said it achieved a record quarterly gross merchandise value of $26.1 million, up 134% on a year-on-year basis. In June, it achieved a record monthly level of GMV at $9.2 million. It also added a record 6,000 new customers in the June quarter. Meanwhile, Can Global has said that its shipment of the CanTab hard pill has been received in Australia. The company said the shipment of 2 of the 6 CanTab products was impending. The share price of Bionomics dropped 2.5% to 9.5 cents after the global clinical stage pharmaceutical company announced its Phase 2B trial of the Attune study. The study focuses on evaluating the tablet formulation of BNC 210 amongst patients with post-traumatic stress disorder. The Attune study, Phase 2B, will be a clinical trial with a 12-week treatment period. Moving on, and Strategic Elements Limited has reported today that its subsidiary Stealth Technologies will be designing and delivering an autonomous drone carrying vehicle that automates detection and sensing of chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear agents. Following the announcement, shares of the company soared 4.5% to 22.5 cents. And now it's time for a very short break on Kalkine TV. Stay with us. I'll be back shortly for more information on the Australian companies that are in the news today, right here on Kalkine TV. Tune in to get the latest information.
Whether it's about market movements or the currency graph,
sectoral coverage or industry news.
we cover it all on our news segments.
Be on top of the latest news
With Kalkine TV.
Welcome back to Kalkine TV, and if you're just joining us, it's great to have your company. This is the Mid-Market Pulse, and we are keeping a close watch on ASX listed companies that are in the news today. Shares of SRG Global rose as much as 7% to 53.5 cents on the back of a strong earnings outlook for 2021. The construction contractor shared it expects financial year 21 EBITDA to be at the top end of the previous outlook range of $45 to $47 million. Shifting gears, and payment solution provider EML Payments Limited gained as much as 6.5% to $3.78 this morning. The stock has posted its biggest intraday percentage gain since the 21st of May 2021. Brokerage firm RBC Capital Markets expects its 2022 EBITDA estimate to be at $73.6 million, up 2% over its previously announced outlook. The brokerage also upgraded the rating to outperform from sector perform and lifted the price target to $4.5 from $3.5 as per the Refinitiv data. Moving on to the last company on our list today, Mineral Resources. The mining infrastructure provider announced today that its wholly owned subsidiary Energy Resources Limited has secured a drilling rig for conventional gas exploration. The exploration rig is for Well Lockyer Deep 1, situated in the onshore Perth Basin in Western Australia. It's a highly prospective northern section of the Perth Basin, hosting several significant recent conventional gas discoveries. And lastly, in today's mid-market pulse, let's have a quick glimpse at global market performance. Global stock markets closed higher on Monday, with European stocks ending on a positive note after data showed that Eurozone business activity surged in June. Trading volumes, however, were subdued as markets in the US remained closer for an extended weekend on the eve of Independence Day. In the Asia-Pacific region, markets opened mostly higher today as investors cheered the US job data release, which shrugged off rate hike concerns. Japan's Nikkei was trading 0.34% higher, while Taiwan's weighted index traded 0.15% higher. Singapore's Straits Times was also up 0.65%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng was down 0.7%. New Zealand's benchmark S&P NZX 50 fell 0.5%. China's Shanghai Composite dropped 0.4% as a crackdown on local tech companies dented market sentiment. Chinese tech firms witnessed selling pressure amid concerns over a crackdown on ride-hailing giant DD Global and scrutiny of other platform companies in the country. China's cybersecurity regulator, Cyberspace Administration of China, has ordered the removal of DD Chuxing from China's smartphone app stores, alleging that the companies illegally collected users' data without disclosing details. Ironically, the development came 2 days after DD Global made its debut on the New York Stock Exchange at a market value of $68.49 billion US, making it the biggest US listing by a Chinese company since Alibaba raised $25 billion in 2014. The ride-hailing giant had raised $4.4 billion in a mega New York IPO. All right then, that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed the program. Stay tuned to Kalkine for the latest news on markets, the economy and diverse themes and sectors. Rachel Jones will be with you next for the Market Movers. I'm James Preston for Kalkine TV.